So yeah, the first thing, you put the big thread up here, you put the cap on like you had it, and then there's all these numbers here that you can follow. So one of these numbers tells you to go over here to the bobbin. That's only if you want to refill the bobbin, and for the camera, this is the bobbin. The bobbin thread goes on the bottom of the machine, and it actually sews in conjunction with the big one. So every now and then you have to refill this one, and you can refill it from the top one. So you do that by taking off this little lip. And then again, there's a diagram right here, which you can follow. So this is just saying that it has to be done in this direction, because you can see like the thread going around the inside there, so it has to pull from going counterclockwise. So you put the bobbin in there going counterclockwise, and then as it shows on the diagram here, you go underneath this kind of metal hook here and out back here. So now if you want to get it to actually thread through, all you do is you start sewing, and it'll start actually pulling the bobbin through. You can kind of follow the numbers here for threading the actual machine. So here it says to go under this guy. So you go under it, and then 2, you go down here. 3, you go around the loop. 4, you go around this loop, and then you're down here. And so now's the tricky part. So you can use this knob on the right to change the height of the needle. So we're going to just make sure the needle's at the very top. And so this is actually a self-threading needle. And so this little thing makes it easier to put the needle or the thread through the eye of the needle. So I actually need to lift it up a little higher. There it goes. So there's like a tiny little hook that actually goes through the eye of the needle. And the way you do this is you pull the thread around the duck head here, which is just this little metal thing. You find that tiny little hook that's gone through the eye. You pull the thread up underneath the hook, and then you just release. And that puts a loop through the eye of the needle. So then you just pull that loop through. So, and then you go through the foot. This thing on the bottom, it comes off. There's a few different types of feet that you can use depending on the stitch you're doing. We're just going to stick with this one. So you go through the foot and out the back. So now both the bobbin and the top are threaded. So then if you want to sew something, I'm just going to sew the scrap a little bit. Let's say I want to just make a seam going along here to make a loop. I can just plug it in underneath here. So both of these threads are going at the back. You put the foot down, and then you start sewing 1, 2, and then you actually want to back up to, and it kind of acts like a lock, like it's just making like a knot for this thread. And then you can just keep going forward again. So again, at the end, you just want to do the lock. and then you can go all the way to the end. And so that just keeps the thread from unraveling. So when you're done, there's this lever, so you lift up the foot again, and then you pull it out, so you're pulling both the top and the bobbin. And there's actually a little cutter, like over here, there's a little knife that you can cut the thread on. So you just pull the thread around that, pull on it, and you're set to sew again. So now, if I turn this inside out, we've got a little loop with a nice seam holding it together.